Welcome to Dojo.
Check out Joe, he's a Reddit bro, likes to edit posts, and he starts to gloat when he gets the most of votes or likes. Yeah, he's really hyped, really psyched, cause the crowd is really tight and the work is really light. His training plan is the first thing your eyes see, cause he got more follows than my boy Eric Icy. Opinions on Magnus, Hans, and Karyakin, who cheated who, which engine that he hacking. He got blocked by Short, ignored by Dvorak, but he can't be wrong, he scored a like from Truon. He's got lightning attacks on GM blunders and gaffes, true not over the board, it's only the other chat. Still his 7-year plan ensures the last laugh. Distractions detract from any actual actions. Excuses are useless, he brews his inaction, awaits satisfaction. The status of Magnus, he bought 50 books and opened up 10. Fools ought to read Psalms, not my system. He's got 30 alt accounts on every site around. Chessable courses keep looking cheaper by the pound. He got 22 databases and 36 engines, 25 chess sets, and a massive clock collection. He bought merch from Gotham, Bra and Naka, but his game history looked like some chess copy pasta. A GM coach that he don't listen to, and if you think it is, then yes, my friend, yes, this is you. But that all changed one bright sunny day when a friend said, hey, don't you know, welcome to the dojo.
All right, my friends, I am obviously here a touch early, and the reasons for that is we got loads of grads, plus I wanted to make way for Norway, and I know Mr. Bruce would like to do the coverage, so I don't quite know what the situation is there later, but that's why I am starting a little early. 2 reasons I'm starting early. The reasons for that is, okay, so let's welcome to the dojo. Yeah, let's get after it here. A lot of cool things happening at the dojo, and maybe you know what I'm gonna do? Let's say over here I'm gonna pin a message. We're gonna say use code dojo for 40% off. Oh, and I gotta hit the pin. Off your first month. So now, do I know how to use this pin function? We're about to find out. Bang! Yeah, buddy! There it is. Oh, my rating just went up. My streamer rating. I feel like I've been fluctuating between about 600 and 700 as a streamer, but now I feel like maybe I'm ready to graduate, to the full 700, 800 cohort. I feel like that's where I'm at. Let's read what Ben C says. Ben C has graduated numerous times, and he says, during this cohort period, my main goal was consistency. I'm working on building consistent habits, consistent practices, and one day, consistent results. Honestly, I'm not that concerned about results right now. I believe that in pursuing consistent good practices in my study plan reflection on both, results will come in time. Every day I practice tactics, concepts, and basic foundational ideas. I have very supportive local clubs. The members of the stronger club average around 1,800, so I'm not winning any of those games. But they help me find a key takeaway after every game, and they've been very encouraging of the work I've been doing. One has said multiple times, quote, every time I play you, it's like you've gained 50 rating points in strength. He's not one to pay lip service, so I'm very happy with how my game is progressing. After today's tournament, I now have a new club a little further away that wants me to come by whenever I'd like to have some rating games. Because I can now get more regular rated practice, I've changed my preferred rating from ChessCom to USCF. Oh, that's a good move. That is like a very growth mindset move. I don't know how today's results will affect my rating. It might be up a little or down a little. I can tell the games were better than the same tournament last year. I lost because of 2 silly mistakes that I will thoroughly analyze tomorrow, but I'm taking the tough games as useful data. Thanks to the senseis and the dojo overall, I know that I wouldn't be growing nearly as much as I am without a solid framework and supportive community. Great! Let's go take a look at Ben over here. Okay, now as you can see, Ben is hitting his, weekly goals. He has a goal of 7 hours a week, and he's just definitely doing it. I got to go read his blog at some point. So Dude, look at that. He did great in his USCF, and he's ready to graduate again. So beautiful. Look at all these graduations. He came from the very bottom, and there's his chess.com rapid flying up there. And the Lee chess is crazy. And his tactics rating, look at that. His tactics rating suggests that he's going to graduate again very soon. Okay, so let's see. Little clubs. Oh, South Carolina, right. Okay. And then here we go. Games. And great, we're going to get a actual OTB here. Let's see if he took down the times. Didn't do the times. I know it's a little hard. Okay. Saluda, North Carolina. Okay. Great. Let's mark this as reviewed, and we will go game review, and I have a feeling I have to fix the windows. Usually I do. Usually at the beginning of each show, I got to fix the windows. Why is that? I don't know. But all I know is it's not that hard to fix. Okay. You know what? And this, does it look funny? Yeah, I feel it looks a little funny. Let's just move and groove a little bit. Move and groove a little bit. Okay. So here we go. Good moves. Actually, one of the things I really like about what he says about d4 is instead of telling me that this is a scotch and this is some theory, he's just like, well, this is about fighting for the center. And so much better. Boom, boom, boom. Fine. Fine. Queen e2, a little weird. I know that this is a kind of an idea in some positions. Good. Good. And I wonder if that's necessary. You know, I wonder if that's necessary. F3. Castles, castles. Snip, snap. You got a very interesting position. A5. And now A4. I think that's fine. Now, actually, let's just say the obvious. This is like a GM level game, dude. Ben's putting together a GM level game. Okay. Boom, boom. Yeah, very nice. And to my mind, the cool thing about G4 is if we knock the knight somewhere terrible, then we get this square. Your opponent says, no, you don't get that square. But that knight B4 isn't the greatest piece. Now, should we play G5? You say H4 first. Poor move, H6. This is really important to understand. This is a wretched move, H6. This just really helps you open the position, which you do. Bang! Now I assume you're winning. You got to be winning now. F4, good move. Bishop E2, fine. And then bang! Wow. Now, you could, of course, played Queen E2, but it goes instead like this. Bang. You might have missed that. Boom. Boom. And now Rook H2. Here we want variations. Like, did you think that you are winning here? I need the rook for the mate, so I'm retreating by advancing. Well, this is weird. We got to talk about this. The rook isn't threatened. So here would be a great example, by the way, that if we had the times, then we could have a sense of, oh, we have a sense and we know what's going on. I think knight c3 is the big question. He doesn't have time to take this one. He doesn't have time to take that one. So it might go knight c3. I don't know what he's going to do. Queen f4, and then you move the king, let's say. And I think he's a goner. So rook h2 is definitely weird. He says snip. You say, all right. Now, queen g6 maybe? Queen f4. Knight d2. Knight g5. That isn't it. Bang! Yeah, buddy. And I think, yeah, we really want to see the times on this game. Rook h2, you know, first of all, very principled opening play. I don't know if you've studied it, but it looks very principled, very GM-esque. So that was very impressive. I guess things I want you to say h6 double question mark, because this is just a standard mistake. It's not slightly weakening the king side. It's like completely destroying the king side. So that's something I want from the annotation, but otherwise you played it fine. And then here, I think bishop e2 is okay. This is pretty fancy with queen h3. And I think we should just, whether we're winning or not, we need to admit that we missed knight a2, right? And then I think we want to analyze knight c3. After rook h2, we also want to analyze, hey, can this guy somehow survive this situation? Like, for example, bishop d1, knight c3, queen g6. Now, you've got other moves besides king d1, but the other one would be like this. And then he's blocking this one. Is he surviving? Maybe. I don't know. This is pretty hot. This is pretty hot. Okay, but that was first of all, very high level play. I think, we're not going to see that high level of play going up the ladder. I suspect that when we look at the times for both players, especially black, we would see that they probably were moving pretty fast, right? Okay, that was great. Let's continue. Next up, we have Coutura. Coutura is also graduating all the time. Coutura said, had my first classical tournament last week in which I earned my first ELO rating of 1499. These people are slaying. Oh, by the way, Coutura, we're going to see, she is really going for it. She's got big dreams and she's working hard for it. All of the games were pretty instructive, and we'll be reviewing them in the program soon. We'll be going through the rest of the cohorts to polish my basics. Now, I think what she means when she says that is, well, let's just see what's going on, actually. Let's just see what's going on. So Coutura's like 8:04. She's just been working. She wants to do 20 hours a week until she reaches GM. Now, again, I think it's a beautiful goal. It's a little high for now. I think we should think about certain benchmarks first. But she is crushing it. And so, really, she's going to graduate again next week, too, which is fine. Let's see, clubs. No club. Join us. Coutura, this is what the clubs, why do I click the clubs? Because I don't know where you are or anything. Tell us maybe something. Give us a story to associate with that amazing picture you got going on there. All right, games. Oh, this is what I remember. Coutura has yet to do the games. Now, she says she's going to do them. And, we need to get it done. Let's see what let's just click on activity real quick, or rather training plan. We'll see tactics. So, yeah, she's still working on getting all these things done. I'm going to just go ahead and say that, actually we'll show completed task here. She got that puzzle rush score. So, it's an interesting situation. It's going to be, it's going to be a hard road, I think. I think one of the things I want to say, Coutura, is that you're flying up there, and you're going to continue to have gains for a while. But I want to stress it's probably going to come to a plateau where you're really going to have to work. And what I don't want to happen is, if you start getting depressed, there's a lot of times what happens, right? People put a huge lofty goal and then they get depressed when it doesn't happen for them the way they imagined it. Like, I would say a great goal for you is to reach a normalized dojo rating of 1,000, let's say in a month, if you're doing 20 hours a week. That would be, I think that's an ambitious goal. All right, cool. let's continue. So next up we have Dami. Dami said, it has been less than 1 week since I joined the dojo, and I can already feel a big change in how I play. Trying to not play any moves without having a reason behind it and spending the time going back and analyzing, annotating some of these games has been really good to see the things I missed in the moment and where I can improve moving forward. Jesse Feb! Ah, dude. Me and Jesse Feb always raiding each other. We are always raiding each other. It's pretty fun. Me and Jesse Feb go way back. All right, so let's click on Dami here. All right, we're going to give Dami a follow. That might be an AI. Oh, maybe I should try what an AI vision of me looks like. Okay, if you're just joining us and you have no idea, this is the ChessDojo training program. And we are going through ChessDojo grads, people who have graduated from one cohort to the next. A cohort is 100 points, and here we have Dami. And Dami is doing really good. Tactics rating suggests Dami is going to continue going up. And so just joined very recently. Do we got clubs? Nothing. Do we got games? We got game. Here we go. Boom, boom. So do we have times? We got times. Let's go time graph. Bang. And one of the things we want to say about this is Dami played... Oh, wait, got to fix it. Got to fix it. Dami played great in terms of time management. And what's actually very surprising about this graph is that his opponent took so long. And when I say surprising is generally in the under 1,000 cohorts, what we're seeing are people who move way too fast, especially if they have a name like Sucker Punch. What's my opinion? Waiting for the Jesse off. That's right. What is my opinion on the Magnus event? I think it's been pretty great. I think one of the things to say is Magnus is always whining about how classical chess is dead, and this is probably the best chess event of the year so far. You know, there'll be other events, but this so far is the greatest event of the year. People all over the world are watching. They weren't watching that freestyle thing. Come on, you know. Are they going to watch the esports thing? Maybe a little bit. I don't know. Here we go. Bishop f4. Fine. 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 Now you just notice what he's doing. He's just doing a setup. And what I like about it is he is developing. Okay. C4. Fine. Now let's say b6 controversial because now the because you don't need to move that pawn. I don't know about this because after bishop b7 we probably need to move again. Oh, that looks like a blunder. So here your opponent missed knight d4 with this kind of business. All right, you got a break. They went back. I don't know. Let's probably take one of your pieces. Castle's fine. Knight g4, poor. So one of the things I say on this show all the time is that when you're at this level, what's going to happen is they are going to move their developed pieces twice, thrice, you know. And the reason is they don't know what to do. So they're trying to create like some vague threat. Like at some point he's checkmated someone on one of these squares and he's like, well, knight g4. Get something going. Okay, I like h3 here a lot. Good move. And now, question, can you win the pawn on e5? I think you can. de5, thank you very much. Knight d5, I don't know about knight d5. Because then, well, maybe it's complicated. But the simple way to play chess would be just to take this thing. So I wanted you actually here to capture here. Okay? Because now you lost a pawn. But or rather, let's just say, dude got his pawn back. Good move. Queen d6. And now knight e5. Now, knight e5 makes me nervous because you've pinned your knight. So at least safer would be bishop e5. Oh, the event where he freaked out after his loss, dude. That's good drama. That's good drama. F6 is a poor move. Should just castle. I mean, he's always been kind of precious, dude. He's always been a little precious. And I don't have any problem with, boom, nice move. I don't have any problem with him pounding the fist, dude. I think it's bad form, but as long as he doesn't do it all the time, you know, there's so much nervous tension when you lose a game. It's actually surprising we don't see people do that more often. You know? All right, now we're crushing this fool. Dami, you're killing him. Check to the miserable king. Oh, now in general, don't trade a pinned piece. I get what you're saying about the being ahead of material, but you can take that knight whenever you want. Fine. Good. Okay. Good. E4, nice move. Simple chess. Some of these things I don't quite understand, but you are marching that bad boy down. There's no doubt about it. That isn't it. Okay, so Dami, really well done. And again, your time management was fantastic. Pretty soon, you know, we have you know, time ratings for every game that you play, that you put your time in for. But we're soon going to get, you know, your actual time rating. You know, that will be averaged across the games that you've played. Dami's here. Yeah, knight g6 was a great move. Opinion Trader says, just sticking with it every day was great. I also felt like I sucked, but apparently I sucked a lot less than I thought. I ended up getting some clever tactics in for a win, and a few times they felt almost magical, and I didn't know how I did it. Well, that's a beautiful thing. Now you can see Option Trader here has been very busy since he joined the dojo in April. That is a great heat map. Yeah, this is looking great. So, let's go here. Clubs, 50 plus. Oh, Options Trader's with me. He's in the old guy group. Let's look at a game from Options Trader. Oh, he's doing really good work here with the game annotation. Look at this, actually. You think about it. He started in April, and he's already got all of these games in. So that's just a beautiful thing. Okay. First things first, do we got times? We don't have any times. Let's go game review. I have a feeling this was played online and Option Trader didn't know how to bring it into the with the times. Basically, whether you bring it in from Lee Chess or chess.com, you know, you got to make sure the times are attached to it. All right, here we go. This is Option Trader is black, I believe. So far, you're doing great. Poor move. He says never fails. C3, C6, okay. In general, we play C6 when the knight's on C3 to kind of dominate it. By the way, C3, not the greatest because it's not a developing move. I like castles, but C6 isn't terrible. Okay, H3, mistake. Good move. Good move. Poor. Now you got these beautiful bishops. Fine. Queen b6 is maybe slightly better, but you're doing all right. Okay. But just a nice move, a5. Rook b8, nice. Queen b6, welcome to the dojo. Rook a2, c5. I just want to say you are playing this GM level, and we can argue that it's not GM level because this guy doesn't know what he's doing. but you're playing great. CD, bishop takes, great. All right, queen b6, beautiful move. Simple chess. D4 looks like a win. Bang! This is where we would want to see some times. This is beautiful chess. I like CB better than rook takes b2, but you know, this is the critters have been crisped here. Should b3. Okay, well done. So that was Option Trader. Just started. A lot of good work being done, right? Really beautiful. By the way, today is a long grad show. I don't even know if I'm going to finish today. We have 30-some people. Question from Chess Derivative. Would the Scotch game be considered an endgame opening? No. And so is it good to use as a main weapon for 1800, 1900 cohort? I always thought that Scotch was a weird opening. You know, there's so many different ways that black can play against it. Now, this is for 1800, 1900. So I have a completely different sense of what to do for openings at a higher level than here. Here we shouldn't be talking about openings at all. But anyways, I've always felt it very theoretical and hard to get the kind of attacking positions that e4 players generally like. So that's my take. Pandorax says, I'm loving being back at the dojo. Finally found myself the time to play and enjoy chess again. Love all of the new features added. And I also joined a local chess club in my town. Once a week, I get the chance to train and play with people who are a lot better than me, and I think it helps me improve even more. I have to admit it was a big difference to see the board in real life compared to on a computer screen, but the folks are really nice and I enjoy my time. Big thank you to everyone who helps run the dojo. You guys are doing an awesome job. Well, thank you very much. And one thing I'll say is we are big in you getting that club to get its own, club on the dojo where you then have a scoreboard and all that. Aus Deutschland. Nice. And especially the German clubs, man, because the German clubs are so cool. And we have, I don't know if we have a German club on the dojo yet. We have a huge German dojo, but we don't have, like, a club, like Viernheim. That's what the club I played for when I was in Germany. Okay, so 747, looking really good. Joined a long time ago, but looks like maybe they took a big break. It seems like they took a big break. Okay, so tactics rating looks good. Looks like they're going to graduate soon. We got the German dojo going on. We got loads of games. So this all looks very good. By the way, 3015 is an interesting time control in the sense that when you get to the 800, past 800 that the dojo were saying, hey, buddy, the 30-0 was cool by the time you got to 800. But after 800, we want you to evolve into a 30-30 situation. All right, here we go. So, first we got a clock. Oh, very nice time graph. Very nice time graph. And this is a 30 plus 15, both sides using their time. Maybe at the end, maybe black is just winning, but you can see black stopped thinking at around move 40. But that's a GM level graph. And one of the things to say about it is as we increase the amount of time that you have on your clock, as you go up the dojo ladder, right, you will have to think deeper. And so it's cool that these players who are playing 30-0 or 30-30, 30-15 can get a really high time management rating. So that's really cool. Boom. So this is against a dojo friend, Blue Guitar Grande, 1926 Andy. Thank you for subscribing. They're on a 47-month streak. So far so good. Queen E2. Okay, fine. Castles. Now the question would be, does bishop take C6 hurt you here? My sense is that in this position, you probably want to play either bishop d7 or b5, because I don't know how you're going to answer bishop c6, bc, ed. Looks bad for you. b5, okay, now we're back to a more normal position. Bishop g4, okay. Bishop e3. h6. And you say, this looks a bit passive. White can now play d5 and attack my knight. Okay, and you talk about playing d5 yourself. In general, you shouldn't be too worried about white playing d5. I think rook e8 makes a lot of sense here too. So d5. I don't know. You like this move? I have misgivings about that move. Knight b8. But basically, in these positions, it's very standard to play like knight b8 followed by c6. All right, a5. a4 is kind of frisky, allowing c6 and knight c4. You play knight c4, and he just gives you the bishop. Oh, you got to take that thing. Hey, you got to take that thing. Hold on. We got to calculate, too. There's also bishop b3. First of all, why is it a bad move? It's not developing. He wants to defend the pawn. This center pawn's hanging bows. Bang. Oh, no. All right. So, bishop c1 is a good move here. It looks ridiculous, but he can push your knight away later. So definitely either knight e3 or knight e4 here. This is passive. Okay. Makes me a little nervous, but okay. Rook e1. By the way, this pawn is just hanging still. All right. I take a chance to take the e4 pawn because I was thinking it is no longer defended by the queen. But if white plays with a discovered attack here, I am the one losing material. Bad move. You're absolutely right. That would be a bummer. So notice we could do a couple, well, it's weird. It's like, it was almost like he's setting you up, but can we just go back a second? So he was already hanging it here, right? And you went back, and it's true now. We're not threatening it, and I misspoke when I said we were threatening it. Okay, so good annotations. Knight d2. Now we just go back. It's funny you don't like to trade stuff. Knight takes d2 makes a lot of sense. Okay, knight takes d5 looks good. Now you say black's better, but I think you mean that white is better. Excuse me. Let me reverse that statement. You said that white was better, but I think you mean that black was better. Knight bd5 feels more natural to me. But I think we're okay. We play knight. Oh, I was going to say knight e3 first. Knight h5. That isn't no good. Thank you very much. Yeah, you're saying plus minus, you mean minus plus. I don't know why you don't like to take. So here you could take this guy and win this knight. Whoa, bishop f2. Yeah, bishop g5, bud. Oh, that's fancy. And now he misses it again with rook takes e4 or queen takes e4 would actually be more to the point, right? That would be more to the point. Okay. Swap for Prez says, was bishop e7 fine? It didn't seem fine to me. I thought he could have, as I said, I think he could have stolen a pawn. So, let's say the obvious. The challenge for our players here is going to be being more diligent about not hanging stuff. E3, no bueno. Oh, now we're mucking it up a little bit. Now we're still winning because we got that knight and everything. Good. Good. Check. Queen e4. Very nice. Let's see if he just mops it up here. He should be able to. Yeah, it's looking strong. Okay. So, and now we understand that it was true that when he got to move 40, he was winning. Okay, great game. Note to bene. I'm going to say something I made some videos about how to make first to the 300 cohort, the 3 to 4, and then the 4 to 5. 3 simple things. We say this on the Grad show every time. To make it out of 1,000, you need a grip on the board. That means not hanging stuff. Second thing you need is you need to take your time. We've seen several players so far take their time. kind of exception to the rule. And you need to develop your coconuts. And we've seen a lot of the people the dojoers are facing aren't developing theirs. Okay, beautiful stuff. Let's go back Grad show. And we're going to look at Biker Lind. Biker Linds. Biker Linds doesn't have anything to say immediately. Ex-musician. Oh, I like the X's. Ex-academic. Ex-pharma. Systems biologist. VR gamer. Dad, husband, bio-ML nerd. Now at relation. Okay. What is a bio? Okay. Now you got me. Bio/ML. I'm getting Broad Institute and Open Biome Microbiome Library. That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting. Okay, super cool. This dude is out of England. I just watched a great show. Oh man, a great show last couple nights. I don't watch a lot of TV, but it was this show, Department Q. I guess it was officially maybe a Scottish show, so someone's going to yell at me. But there's an English dude playing the main lead. Fantastic. Fantastic stuff. Okay, so clubs. We got 50 plus, the London, the UK. Beautiful. And you can see that he is really killing it since joining at the beginning of the year. Maybe it was a New Year's resolution type thing. And he's held on to that resolution and has his first graduation year. So that's really cool. Games. We got loads, and we got some that are, well, at least one that's an OTB. Okay, let's take a look. We don't have times, but that's kind of typical. My first competitive OTB game. My first win in a tournament. Okay, great. Try not to hang anything. Yep, that's what we want. So far, you're doing great. Fine. Fine. Okay, your black is playing well. Bishop b3. I think bishop b3, you don't say anything about it, but I think it's a very sophisticated move because so many players at this level will take and free that bishop over here. Now, d4, it looks right, but the problem is, you know, you have what we call a King's Indian structure now. Pawns pointed this way, bishop pointing over here. I would like to be white here. g6, why is it a poor move? Because he's already made a pawn move to develop his bishop on f8. Castle's good. Bishop d6. Now you play bishop f4. Okay, so to my mind, what we really would like, more than anything here, is to push this guy. That's what we want. So maybe knight e1. I know that looks weird maybe at first. But the point is I really want to play f4. I want to pop this. I want to pop him open. Also bishop h. Oh, you got a lot of good moves. But h3 intending bishop h6. And I don't want to play bishop h6 immediately because of knight g4. All right, anyways, bishop f4. That's your good bishop, so we don't really want to trade it. Okay. Poor move. Thank you very much. Rook c1. Okay. Knight d5, please. Bishop f7. Question mark. Knight f7 also is looking good. Let's just say e5, a mistake for a variety of reasons. Knight f7 is better than my knight d5, Jesse. Come on. Check to the miserable king. Stockfish says bishop b3. Good move. That would require you to see knight f7 in the first place, which I think maybe you didn't see. Like when you took on f7 with the bishop, it suggests that you only saw the check. A cruel thing that GMs say about lower rated players to say, Patzer sees a check, Patzer gives a check. Jerks. Now, bishop f7, he should probably think about king e7, right? You're doing great. Okay, you can still play knight f7. In the PM postmortem, we found this much stronger response for black. Black is toast, by the way. Now, Timothy Warner Burley should, if we had a time graph, it'd be interesting to see because it feels like he's not thinking. That neither side maybe is thinking too long. Good moves. Check the miserable king. I might as well just take that thing. Thank you. Now F4, please. Come on. Oh, he just resigns. At this level, he shouldn't resign, by the way. He should not resign. Jafera says, had a week of light chess because I was on holiday. The heat map is calling me out so hardcore, and I hate myself for it. Yeah. Mamuxia says, what is the purpose of dojo clubs? I joined few, but there's no visible action from any of them. Well, there's several interesting uses. So let me talk about the most superficial first. The first superficial one is when I go and you don't have anything on your profile and you say, you're from the German dojo or the Swedish dojo or something like that, I can at least place you. Then, if you say, oh, I'm from the Copenhagen, which they pronounce Copenhagen, if I'm from the Copenhagen dojo, then if I'm in Copenhagen, maybe I'm visiting, I might send a message to those people and say, hey, I'm in town. But more importantly, if I'm in that town, those people can get together and start training amongst themselves. Also, maybe a cool social thing. Next, maybe the best is if you have a club, whether it's Scholastic in the United States or an actual club like they have in Europe, then those guys can put a scoreboard together, right, with their club and then watch to see who's doing what, and of course they can train together. Yeah. What else did I want to say? That's about it. All right, first of all, let's get into it. This is Aradanus. Boom. I'm excited to join Dojo. Dojo. I've loved chess since I was a kid and played casually, though never in a structured way. Now, as an adult learner, I'm back into the game after a long break. I work as a consultant, and being an insomniac, I think I might be an insomniac too. I often find myself drawn to late-night chess sessions. Now, I got troubles with sleep, but that would really take it to the next level if I did late-night chess. Okay. So he made 800. Congratulations. And I think he's not logging a lot of work here. So let's just go look. Clubs, ADHD. If you've got ADHD and playing chess at night, I can imagine that would be quite a thing here. But a dude does have several games going on here. Now, something I want to stress. Now that you have graduated to 800, 900, it's very important that you start transitioning to the 30-30 as a minimum time control, right? As a minimum. These are all ancient games, unfortunately. So, Eridanos, we need more recent games to go over. And it looks like, you were very diligent with your heat map, and then recently it's kind of fallen off, but still, you made it. That is great. Okay, next up we have Fanny Shea. Fanny Shea might be like Shea. And Fanny Shea, 874, joined a while back, but only started recently logging some stuff. So we don't know too much. Just dads and moms, I'm in that one. And no row. So Fanny Shea, welcome back to the dojo. And I'm hoping you give us a game soon. I can imagine with this amazing 874 that you will graduate again soon. Okay. So, next up, we got Renaud. I didn't use the dojo since a long time, but made some progress on my own. Okay. So, right, he just hasn't been using it too much. We got some clubs. See, I don't know anything. That's about what's the superficial. One of the superficial reasons to put a club down is I can get a sense of who you are a little bit if you don't say anything about yourself. No games. Well, Renault, we know what you need to do. You know what you need to do. Oh, and I should have followed him, but I can do that soon. Cebu says, this is my second graduation in a short time. The dojo give me the focus on the right things to learn, plus taking my time in the games helped me a lot to improve. Okay, beautiful. And they joined, well, about 2 weeks ago. And as you can see, Cebu is really crushing it, has already graduated once before. So what happened, though, is maybe in one of those late night binge sessions, boom, had a big crash after graduating up here. So, all right. We got some reasonable tactics rating. All right. Now, clubs, adult improver. We got some games. So, let's take a look at this one. I don't know if we got a time control or anything. No, that's okay. Game review. This was an OTB match in the Hamburg Team Championship. Didn't write timestamps, but I used much more time than my opponent. The time control was 2 hours for 40 and 30 minutes for the rest. I played with black. So, beautiful thing, and I can imagine, you know, especially if you grew up or started chess recently in the internet age, Queen's Gambit generation, 2 hours for 40 and then 30 minutes for the rest might have felt like a death sentence to you. Because that's the way we used to play it in the olden times. Right? But really good that you were able to use your time. So far, good chess. So far, great chess. D3, we're going to call that passive. So you're doing great. D4 is good here. Bishop B4 is probably okay. Why don't I like A3? Because it's not developing. And I think you should just trade it and take the tempo that white has given you. Okay. D4 still looks good. A6. Okay. I don't like A6 because you're not developing. Okay, good. E3, I don't like it because he's not developing. D4 now looks especially spicy. You're developing, good. Rook C8 or D4, good move. Queen D2, beautiful. So notice you've won a lot of time. And I like your simple play. Look at this. Queen D7, castles, bishop H3. Fine, good moves. F4, that's not it. White is really going for it with this move. And something I would want to stress about this situation when your opponent pulls the trigger like this is that we should know, we should feel it, that now is what we can call a critical position. That is just to say, it's time for us to think about what's going on. Yeah, it is super hot here. It is hot beyond hot. It's really hot. So D4 is a question for me. You took and then played D4. Let's give what you did a chance. And now they got to take on D4. I think, or maybe, yeah. So full blunder. You say thank you very much. And now you should be winning the game. Knight D4 makes me a little nervous because I just want to make sure you're not doing your... I guess you could... The simple way here would be Knight E2. That would be the simple way. Okay. So, you're doing great. Now we want to occupy the C file. Good. Oh, beautiful play. Do I understand bishop D8? Okay, poor move, letting your queen or knight gain the D5 square. Okay, this makes me nervous because of queen C8. You're still holding it together, but I think we want to critique your form a little bit here. A5, oh my gosh. Fix your king, buddy. Play something like H5 or G6. Good move. Your opponent shouldn't have let that happen. And now, can we do something about your king, like G6 and Knight E6? No. Oh, you're obsessed. Oh, look at that. Ooh. Now, that was a nice idea, but then he blundered that you have queen e6 check. Now, one of the things I want to stress is the finish. The finish, it made me nervous. Cebu made me a little nervous. But we're going to say at this level, they're going to hang some pieces, and you took them. You developed, got some pressure. Your opponent started freaking out. In the postmortem, what I would hope for is like kind of a deep analysis of this position. In particular, like I would want to know what you were intending here. Yeah, that would be the interesting question. How do we evaluate it? Okay, well done. We're going to continue here with Pawn John. For a second, I read Pawn Jam. I kind of like the idea of a Pawn Jam. So, let's look at Pawn John. We're going to give him a follow. Joined in April, and as you can see, very busy at the dojo. Gained 216 points, 942. Got a nice tactics rating. Clubs. Let's go Philly. Mainline. Okay, great. So we're talking about, here's actually a good example of how the clubs work, Mamuxia. So you got a Philly dojo. So you might find there's 21 people there that you might find to work with, right? Become chess friends with, chess training partners. And then also you've got the Mainline Chess Club. That's a part of Philly. It's kind of like the northern, kind of fancier part, you know? And so I know, and they've got a cool chess club. That is a cool chess club up there. I've never actually been, but I know a lot of people that are involved in it. Okay, so do we got some games, Fawn Pawn? Very well done. Notice that we're starting to evolve into faster time controls as is appropriate. So let's see what we got. Time graph. Okay, so this is more typical of what we see when we start, when we're at the under 1,000 cohorts. And in particular, Fawn Pawn, what we're worried about here is that unless you were completely winning by move 20, we don't like this. Because, yeah, it looks like you just stopped thinking. Well, we're going to see what the game situation was. Here we go. Okay. Little weird because you're blocking your bishop. Okay. Okay. You're still doing fine. Little weird because it's not a developing move. Okay. Knight d2 might be more testing. Bishop g4, poor because it's not a developing move. Knight e5. Okay. Also notice that what he's doing is he's freeing your problem, which is you needed to move the knight on d7 again anyway. So, knight e5. Now, if bishop f, well, it's an interesting question. Bishop e5, and you say bang, and you say bang. I don't know. I think there's things to think about here. My big question would be, could we play here, here, and here? And I'm going to call it kind of a hot position because he's probably should sack the pawn, and then I don't know exactly what's going on. I don't. So f5, he should play queen f4, though, and white should be fine. Queen e2, poor. Snip, snap. Queen d5, reasonable. Now, white should still be thinking of putting the rook to d7. So rook d1 to d7. Passive and gives you the pawn. You should have at least said thank you. Check. Queen d5, good. c5, excellent. I bet your opponent missed that. Good move. Okay. And now, did we take it? Very good. Now, this actually, I think, is a position where even GMs can struggle with this position, and that is the rooks against the queens. Black should be winning, but but it's very hard to coordinate the rooks. And so here it's interesting because remember when we looked at your time graph and you just played instantly? This is precisamente the position where you need to slow it down because this is very complicated right here. Rook b6, and you say slippery, but I'm not worried since I have an escape path available. Well, at the first thing we should say is dude has a draw with queen h4 to queen e7. That's the first thing. So you missed that. If you had spent more time, right? Mamuxia, there's no club for Portugal. Make a club, buddy. Make that club. g4. You say not white's best move. Tell us what you think white's best move is. All right, there's a lot of things that worry me, for example. You said thank you very much. Queen c8. King f3, good move. Good move. I think that's okay. Good move. Good move. And that wasn't it. Rook f1. Yeah, you should take. By the way, Mamuxia, not Mamuxia. What you are doing here is a very important mistake, Pawn John, okay? Is that you are moving way too fast. If you can solve this problem, your rating's going to be so much higher. This was a blunder, and then boom. Now, let me say the obvious. It's going to hurt, but it's the obvious. If you had spent more time here, you wouldn't have lost the rook. Now, white needs to have his own think here. I don't think white's thinking about this. I don't think white has thought about this very much. Yeah, white did not think about this. I can guarantee you that it was winning, and now he is losing. Yeah, goodbye, buddy. Bye-bye. Bye, pawn. GG. Okay, so, Pawn John. That whole thing, this very common. We see this at the dojo amongst the lower cohorts. That endgame was super complicated, and you played it as if it were obvious, right? Again, here's your time graph. Look at that thing. With a 45-second increment, its time actually went up. Okay, so let's move on. And next up, we have a famous dojoer, namely Stinky Little Ghost. I've seen a lot of Stinky's games in the Grad show. I've also seen him play against other people in the dojo. And let's see what he says. I've had a hard time finding quality classical, so have been logging mostly blunder games. Blunder games, by the way, are 15-minute games that you're just looking to see who hung what, and that is something for the under 1,000 cohorts. I've participated in a live beginner tournament, but have had a hard time scheduling good quality long time control games. Still, I don't feel like I'm plateauing just yet, and I'm getting decent progress still. I'm falling behind on the Polgar mates, though. We go up, you got 2 more mates. Now, let's click Stinky Ghost first. And let's just look at what the 800-900 round robin looks like. So we'll go 800-900. It looks great, dude. Look at this. There's loads of games here, Stinky Ghost. Hey, Stinky Ghost, look at these people. Look at these people. These are very active. A lot of names I recognize here. They're doing the big fight. And look at that, 30-30. Maybe that's too fast for you. But remember, that's a minimum time control. So if you go to this round robin, you can always ask people if they want to play a longer time control game. Okay, so Stinky Little Ghost is from Denmark. Now, Stinky can tell me. Kuppenauer. Pretty good, huh? Copenhagen. That's great. Okay. My current goal is a FIDE rating. All right, that looks good. He's at 921. Look at the progress. Stinky little ghost is killing it. All right, Danish Dojo. See, we got Danish Dojo. It would be great maybe if there was a Copenhagen Dojo. All right. So, games, I just like saying that, Copenhagen. So, here's somebody where he is vastly outrated. Let's give it a shot. First, we got times. No times. And boom, boom, boom. We're going to go game review. And he writes, I haven't the slightest clue as to how to play against Sicilian. I always get in trouble, but I seem to have had the least trouble with c3 as a response. You guys won't like it what I say here, but if you just, at this level, if you just focus on playing principled moves, you will be doing fine. Okay? So, g6, d4, good move. Bishop g7 is, I think, what we call, it's an inaccuracy. D5 is the kind of known move. You played knight f3. Now d5 is still possible. That's why I like knight c3 better. Your opponent doesn't know this. Knight c3, good move. Castles. And now I think you're close to a winning position with the move e5. Or at least let's call it a clear advantage. Look at that. You're kicking him away out of the center. Get out of here, chump. Get out of here, you chump. So here it is. You play just natural opening moves against an 1850, and you've got a clear advantage out of the opening, not knowing anything. d6. Okay. Now, do we want to play h3? Good move. At the time, I felt like this move was a bit too defensive, but I was concerned about knight g4. No, you need to be concerned about bishop g4. And the reason is that when black plays this position, he wants to fight for this square. So if you were going to play bishop e2, then you might get away with not playing h3. Bishop e2 maybe was better anyway, but I'm just happy you're developing. a6, a little funky. Now you still got d5, rook e1. What did you do? Bishop e3, fine. A little funky. Preventing knight b4. Notice how you're terrified. It's not a terrible move, but I want you to develop, like queen d2. Rook e8, weird. Queen d2, simple and strong. e5, funky. d5, okay. Knight a7, weird. I was expecting knight a5, good. Bishop h6, I hate this move and I want to talk about it. So, let's talk about our position. Why is this a bad bishop? Because it's all blocked up, right? This bishop is your good bishop because these pawns are on the light squares. Look at the scope of this thing. This thing's your best minor piece. So what you're doing with bishop h6 is you're paying a tempo, because that's not a developing move, to go exchange black's worst bishop. Now, I got a great rule of thumb for you. Bishop h6 is sometimes a good move. But remember, first of all, you are paying a tempo by doing it. And second of all, you should only do it if you think you are going to mate your opponent. Here, we're not going to mate him. We're not. So what would be a good move here? Obviously, moving the rook here, one of the rooks would be can't be bad. This move, you could yell at me like, cry, that's not a developing move. But what we're doing is we just want to stop him from ever moving the knight. You know, and then if he goes here, then we'll pop him here. We'll say, no, you ain't going nowhere. All right, bishop h6, poor move. Boom, 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 boom. Black is playing simple chess now. Bishop takes, huh? Okay, knight takes. Rook ac1. Now it's about roughly equal. Maybe we could say we'd rather be black, honestly, because this pawn is a weakness. Yeah, and his queen's more active than yours. g4, I don't like it. My attempt at unlocking the position, but it wasn't well thought through. Yeah, you talk about queen e2. Queen e2, though, is a blunder because he just goes snip and snark. So you do have yourself a little bit of an issue about how to play the position. It's not easy. Not easy. Yeah, it's all of a sudden it's a little bit unpleasant. Of course, we would want you to write down the times as well. And you're going to ask me, well, Cry, what should you do? First of all, he's not threatening anything quite yet, because if he takes with a rook, we can still take back with a queen. That's difficult. Maybe knight h2 followed by knight g4. Okay, here we go. g4, rook takes. I don't know about this yet, because when you take with a queen, you are threatening queen c7. Queen d3, probably a good move, but what about rook e3? Good move. So what happened there? Black was playing without thinking. Okay. Now you play g5. This is a horrendous mistake. Yeah. So one of the things about a position like this is to recognize that the knight on f6 is not a great piece. And Black has just given you several tempi that you should use to at least consider queen c7. Quad XE, yes it is. Doing great in Dojo land. Okay, so g5, and now his knight is going to become a monster on f4. Oh, no. Oh, no. Now, one of the things, queen f1 looks really hard to meet, honestly. h6 may be a good move. King g7, good move. Knight g2. Knight e2. Dang, this guy's playing good now. Dang. Queen f4 check to the miserable king. And Black wins. So actually, one of the things we'll say about Black is, you're talking about how you didn't know how to play against the Sicilian. Black had no idea what they were doing in the opening, but showed their 1850 rating later in the game, right? So you might, for an 1850, you might not know how to develop your pieces quite right yet, you know? He didn't know. But then later, played some good moves to break you down. Okay, so well done, Stinky. I love your progress, Stinky. I mean, I'm a fan of a lot of the improvers in the dojo, but I really like Stinky. You know, who doesn't like Stinky? Okay, let's see what else we got here. We got Lorenzo. Lorenzo's working hard. He likes the endgame. For that, I'm going to give him a follow. Let me just change this. He wants to spar with you. He's working the endgame algorithms, right? Play out positions from classic games. Yeah. And we have a lot of endgame positions that we have people play out. And we'll actually look at Lorenzo's training plan for the endgame, actually, now that he's at 1,000. Because below 1,000, that's pretty basic with the endgame. And then we start getting a little bit more. First, let's go clubs. He's in Italy. Beautiful. Costi was just playing in Italy, as well as the guy who does our YouTube videos, Matt. And let's just go endgame. Let's just see what you got to do. And we just want him to do, oh wait, we're going to show completed tasks. So we got some Silman. He's crushed that. And he's got all these algorithms that he's crushed, but he has yet to do this sparring position. Good. Yeah, very simple, good endgame position to practice. Once he gets stronger, you know, more higher up, he'll get a lot more of these endgames to play against people. Of course, if he wants to battle it out with some higher rateds, you know, of course he could do that in the endgame. All right. Looks like very good work on the heat map here. Joined end of last year, has basically been crushing it since. And the rating is just, it's pretty much, you know, good and steady progress. So here we got one. Bang. This is a 60 plus 5. And we got time. We don't have time. And he says, for reasons I can't explain, I'm proud of this game, despite the fact that I only drew it. Okay, pulled off a combination. Okay, let's get into it. We'll pay attention to move 17 where he says he wasted a tempo. Fine. Fine. Little weird. Poor. A horrendous spot for my bishop, right. So you should ask yourself, how can you develop at the same time? Knight c3. If he takes, we got rook b1 and snipper snapper. So c5, good. Poor. Here I spend a pawn move to free my bishop. You want to castle here, my friend. It is time to castle. Loss of time. 97. Snip. Maybe a good chance. Castles. Knight b4 doesn't look right. Black threatens the queen and the knight jumps into my camp, but I have no intention of losing a tempo. Good. This bishop, I feel, is loose, so it probably owes a tempo at some point to go back. It's a funny piece. This knight is in many ways black's best piece. Fighting for the e5 square, we have a French structure, and so one of these moves is what black should be considering. Poor, losing time. Snip, snap, and now c3. I do not remember what the point of this one-move threat was. I should have just gone on with the plan of fixing my terrible knight and playing knight d4. Also, I think you should consider c4 because black has so neglected their development that we want to be thinking about opening the position. Poor, not developing. G6, poor, not developing. It's time to see for c4. We only open this game up. Okay. Poor, not developing. Fancy. I am proud of this tactic. Well, first of all, dude needs to play back. But by the way, this is a good, just the idea in itself for the under 1,000 cohort, absolutely. Absolutely. So black blunders this, but is arguably just going to trap our knight anyway. So we could say that black got a little lucky here, but I still think you're better. I'm totally fine with the way you did it. If you take the other pawn, you're opening the rook. So you're kind of like developing the rook on e8 if you take the other pawn. So I'm okay with this. King takes. And now I want you to play c4. g4, I don't like it. I see now we're playing passive. What was the move 17 you didn't like so much? It was this move. Now, it's weird because you've had this chance to play c4 for like 3 million moves. You never do it. So he's arguing about maybe rook ac1. But you got to move that pawn. It's time. It's time to move that bad boy. Open the position. Your opponent is like, someone trying to throw a dinner party who hasn't cleaned the house yet, Time to open all their doors. Okay, so here we go. Knight g6, king takes. G4, rook a8, rook a b1, weird. F5, a little funky. Now, rook b2, I don't like this at all. I think you got to play gf, and then c4. Rook b2, boom, boom. h5, king f5 looks very plausible to play king f5, right? Because then, okay, so we're missing, but he's missing things too. There it is, same thing. Okay. Bishop h6. Rook g8, good move. g6, kind of funky. Boom, boom, boom. Nice move. Look how black has activated their king. Bishop e3 check to the miserable king. Oh, it's not looking good, is it? Check. Easy chess. Easy chess. Yep, look at this guy. He's murdering you. He's just taking you down. Now, that was a blunder. Bishop d4. What's going on? Okay, what we want, you say taking the rook would have been a big mistake. I'm confused. because you see king a2, king d4. I cannot stop the avalanche of pawns. But look at this, rook a3, king b2. All black had to do, and this should be in your notes, is say, oh, well, that's got to be winning. You know, shades of Gukesh Magnus the other day when Magnus had his rage quit. Yeah. Actually, a more, maybe even more brutal move is this one. Look at that. Bang! Oh, no! Oh, no! Yeah. Okay. So, well done. And next up, we have Lamarcus. Let's see what's going on with Lamarcus over here. So, Grad show. This is Lamarcus. We're going to give him a follow. Just joined the dojo. Might not have anything up yet. Clubs. Okay, it's out of Mexico. And then we got games. Nothing. Well, Lamarcus just joined. Hopefully, we'll see more of Marcus. Lamarcus. Le Marquis. He's Le Marquis. Now we got Pepe, and after Pepe, I'm going to take a little break before we continue here. Let's go look at Pepe. I'm going to give Pepe a follow. Also joined very recently. Clubs. No clubs, no games. All right, my friends. Actually, before I take a little break, let me check in on what's going on with the old chess tournament. Has it started? I'm going to guess it probably has. Uh-oh, we got a raging interno here. We got a raging interno. Here we go. Games. It hasn't started yet. I assume it's starting soon. Or maybe it started and then with the time delay thing, it'll get going. Wait a second. Let's check your schedule, Cry. June 5th. Today is a day off, you idiot. You idiot. You just realized it now? You fool. All right, my friends. I'm going to take a quick break, and then I'll be right back.
Welcome to the dojo.
Check out Joe, he's a Reddit bro, likes to edit posts, and he starts to gloat when he gets the most of votes or likes. Yeah, he's really hyped, really psyched, cause the club is really tight and the work is really light. His training plan is the first thing your eyes see, cause he's got more follows than my boy Eric Dicey. Opinions on Magnus, hands, and Karyakin, who cheated who, which engine
That
did he
ain't
hack in.
Magnus.
He got blocked by Short, ignored by Dvorak, but he can't be wrong. He scored a like from Truan. He's got lightning attacks on GM blunders and gaffes, true not over the board. It's only the other chat. Still his 7-year plan ensures the last laugh. Distractions detract from any actual actions. Excuses are useless. He rues his inaction. Awaits satisfaction. The status of Magnus. He bought 50 books and opened up 10. Fools ought to read Psalms, not my system. He's got 30 all accounts on every site around. Chessable courses keep looking cheaper by the pound. He got 22 databases and 36 engines, 25 chess sets, and a massive clock collection. He bought merch from Gotham, Bra and Naka, but his game history looked like some chess copy pasta. A GM coach that he don't listen to, and if you think it is, then yes, my friend, yes, this is you. But that all changed one bright sunny day when a friend said, hey, don't you know? Welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I gave up on the easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. Sweatwork's what I believe. Waiting's what I'll receive. Don't you know? Welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I stepped away from easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. If sweatwork's what I believe, rating's what I'll receive. So Joe got into the business, stopped the app sickness, daily practices rhythm, he even upped his fitness. He found sparring cathartic, postmortems charming. With the plus equal minus, he was armed for elo farming. With notepad and pen, he built up calluses, escape rating paralysis with lengthy game analysis. With sensei direction, he sold his collection. Read one classic and that was fantastic. He locked to the spot where they checking off boxes. Young prodigies and some wily old foxes. 3.5 points per box, that's shocking progress. Goal nearing, cohort cheering, Joe doesn't hear it. He's monotasking, no relaxing, concentration maxing. One book, one board, one set, one thought. Work will work, will work, work, never stop. One book, one board, one set, one thought. Work will work, will work, work, never stop. Now occasionally, he peeps the world of the tweet and laughs when he sees the player that he used to be. Blank face staring, complex plans comparing while he's dojo training. Hours a day playing out positions, transpositions, and growing his board vision. Transition from poser to player, focus without a care. He leaves them complaining in his dust, staying with their week-old ratings. Blast past his week-old rating, each week's a new occasion. He never takes vacation, the work is entertaining, the growth he's maintaining. And now Joe is explaining, hey, don't you know? Welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I gave up on the easy. Sweatwork's what we need you, if sweatwork's what I believe, waiting's what I'll receive. Don't you know? Welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I gave up on the easy. Sweatwork's what we need you, if sweatwork's what I believe, rating's what I'll receive. Welcome to the dojo!
Welcome to the dojo.
Check out Joe, he's a Reddit bro, likes to edit posts, and he starts to gloat when he gets the most of votes or likes. Yeah, he's really hyped, really psyched, cause the club is really tight and the work is really light. His training plan is the first thing your eyes see, cause he got more follows than my boy Eric Icy. Opinions on Magnus, hands, and Karyakin. Who cheated who, which engine that he hacking. He got blocked by short, ignored by Devort, but he can't be wrong. He scored a like from Truon. He's got lightning attacks on GM blunders and gaffes. True, not over the board, it's only the other chat. Still his 7-year plan ensures the last laugh. Distractions detract from any actual actions. Excuses are useless, he rues his inaction. Awaits satisfaction, the status of Magnus. He bought 50 books and opened up 10. Fools ought to read Psalms, not my system. He's got 30 alt accounts on every site around. Chessable courses keep looking cheaper by the pound. He got 22 databases and 36 engines, 25 chess sets, and a massive clock collection. He bought merch from Gotham, Bra and Naka, but his game history looked like some chess copy pasta. A GM coach that he don't listen to, and if you think it is, then yes, my friend, yes, this is you. But that all changed one bright sunny day when a friend said, hey, don't you know? Welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I gave up on the easy. Sweatwork's what we need you, sweatwork's what I believe, waiting's what I'll receive. Don't you know? Welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I stepped away from easy. Sweatwork's what we need you, if sweatwork's what I believe, rating's what I'll receive. So Joe got into the business, stopped the app sickness, daily practice his rhythm, he even upped his fitness. He found sparring cathartic, postmortems charming. With the plus equal minus, he was armed for elo farming. With notepad and pen, he built up calluses, escape rating paralysis with lengthy game analysis. With sensei direction, he sold his collection. Read one classic and that was fantastic. Now he locked to the spot where they checking off boxes. Young prodigies and some wily old foxes. 3.5 points per box, that's shocking progress. Goal nearing, cohort cheering, Joe doesn't hear it. He's monotasking, no relaxing, concentration maxing. One book, one board, one set, one thought. Work, work, never stop. One book, one board, one set, one thought. Work, never stop. Now occasionally, he peeps the world of the tweet and laughs when he sees the player that he used to be. Blank face staring, complex plans comparing while he's dojo training. Hours a day playing out positions, transpositions, and growing his board vision. Transition from poser to player, focus without a care. He leaves them complaining in his dust, staying with their week-old ratings. Blast past his week-old rating, each week's a new occasion. He never takes vacation, the work is entertaining, the growth he's maintaining. And now Joe is explaining, hey, don't you know? Welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I gave up on the easy. Sweatwork's what we need you, if sweatwork's what I believe, waiting's what I'll receive. Don't you know? Welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I gave up on the easy. Sweatwork's what we need you, if sweatwork's what I believe, rating's what I'll receive. Welcome to the dojo!
Welcome to the dojo.
Check out Joe, he's a Reddit bro, likes to edit posts, and he starts to gloat when he gets the most of votes or likes. Yeah, he's really hyped, really psyched, cause the club is really tight and the work is really light. His training plan is the first thing your eyes see, cause he got more follows than my boy Eric Icy. Opinions on Magnus, hands, and Karyakin. Who cheated who, which engine that he hacking. He got blocked by short, ignored by side of Orc, but he can't be wrong. He scored a like from Truon. He's got lightning attacks on GM, blunders and gaffes. True, not over the board, it's only the other chap. Still, his 7-year plan ensures the last laugh. Distractions detract from any actual actions. Excuses are useless, he rues his inaction. Awaits satisfaction, the status of Magnus. He bought 50 books and opened up 10. Fools ought to read Psalms, not my system. He's got 30 alt accounts on every site around. Chessable courses keep looking cheaper by the pound. He got 22 databases and 36 engines, 25 chess sets, and a massive clock collection. He bought merch from Gotham, Grad, and Naka, but his game history looked like some chess copy pasta. A GM coach that he don't listen to, and if you think it is, then yes, my friend, yes, this is you. But that all changed one bright sunny day when a friend said, hey, don't you know, welcome to the dojo.
All right, my friends, we are back, and I'm seeing some famous names up here, so that's cool. Will we finish today? I don't know. Look at this thing. This is epic. We got an epic amount of people here. Sometimes I switch or do the second round on Thursday. We'll just see how far I get. I might become loopy after a little bit. You know, it's possible to become loopy. But I'm still enjoying myself. I got a coffee. I forgot to bring my water in. I could go get the water later. Let's go look at Andy here. So, Andy, tell us something about yourself. And his ratings, something's odd. Something's odd with Andy. He's in Boston. Joined pretty recently. No games. I have a feeling he hasn't figured it out yet. Because something's going weird. Andy, welcome to the dojo. And now we got a famous player. That's David Ham. A prodigal has returned. After about a year away from the dojo, I'm back and ready to get to work. So you guys, actually, I'll click on his thing and you can see, I bet he's linking to his blog. I didn't link to his blog. He's got a blog called Chess Dad over there on Lead Chess. Very cool. And he has made a lot of progress. It's very impressive. And what I'm hoping for, David, if you're watching, is I'm hoping that when you come back to the dojo, that you free your mind by not being distracted by 1,000 different chess influencers, right? Like, listen, this guy said this thing, this other person said this other thing, and instead just focus on, you know, I want to, there's other programs out there, but I would actually say pick a program, you know, so if you pick the dojo, stick with the dojo. Don't get distracted by all the other noise out there. Okay, let's take a look. Clubs. He's in Denver. I didn't even know that he was in Denver. Denver's got a pretty cool chess scene. Let's see if we got some games over here. And we don't. This is an ancient game that David has. So, David, we want a couple things. We want a recommitment to the heat map, you know, and then a commitment to get us some games. All right, beautiful. So, let's go back. And next up we have first one. First one says nothing. First one's pretty new here. Looks like they graduated already a couple times since arriving. And look at that, just flying up. Doing some work, and it's, you know, maybe this is what they call newbie gains. In any case, flying up. In the weightlifting world, I guess they talk about newbie gains because, you know, if you just start lifting, you'll just, you know, you'll kind of crush it. You'll kind of crush it. You know, you won't hit a plateau for a while. All right, here we go. This is only 8 moves, but I wanted to look at it because it's at the correct time control of 30-30. Let's just go see what's going on. So, and there's a funny time graph. Both players get a 0. So both players weren't thinking at all. All right. So let's go back to game review. That was a funny graph there. All right. Fine. Okay. Boom. 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 Mistake, I guess, because of king e7. Good move. Blunder, and then white resigns. Well, there we go, Geek Valley. Now, let's just say the obvious. If white had thought, look at this. Over here, bishop b4, knight d6 played in 16 seconds. No, 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 no. You know? a3 looks like a reasonable move. We can add other moves, too. All right. So, what we'll say about first one, welcome to the dojo. You're probably going to graduate again. And we want to commit now to playing slightly longer games, such as this 30-30 that you've got going on here. Okay, beautiful. Next up, we got Zach on track. And Zach on track is truly on a track, because look at all these graduations Zach has got going on. Boom. Lives in Hawaii. All right, so he wants to hit ChessCom Rapid 1600. He's very close. He's at 1521 now. He actually achieved this goal and peaked at around 1640, then immediately plummeted to low 1500s. My goal is now to work my way back up and play at a 1600 level consistency. Long term is 2000. Super long term is 2000 USCF. Okay, good. Now, he's been around for a while, but hasn't been logging his stuff. Let's see if he got some clubs over here. No. Games. No. So Zach on track. We know what you need to do to get on track, buddy. We know what you need to do. You need to put in some games. Start committing to that heat map. The obvious thing, these goals are very ambitious, but you need to be at it every day. You need to put those games up. All right. Next up, Naidamer. Naidamer doesn't tell us so much. Previously a casual player looking to get real serious in chess. For that, you get a follow. And joined very recently. Has got a much higher rating. Maybe you just crushed it so hard. Actually, you've crushed it so hard since you joined. Look at that. So that is very impressive gains that you start. Because, you were on Lee Chess, you were 1745, and now you're all the way up here. So amazing. You can graduate again next week. Clubs, nothing. Games, we got a couple. All right, good time control. I appreciate that. And then we'll take a look at the time graph. And here is a very typical thing where we're playing somebody online and they aren't thinking. Interesting today, actually, we had several players in the under 1,000 cohort who were taking their time. And it's usually there that we see this kind of criminal behavior by white. I think it's funny, the time management rating that we're coming up with, a lot of GMs are now very interested in it. Anish Giri reposted my thing on Twitter talking about it. Maybe, is it both an interesting thing and a fun thing? But really, the reason I was inspired to push our development team to create this thing was mostly about the lower rated players and the impulsive players not taking their time. That was the most common thing we see at the dojo, and I wanted just to quantify it so people could see it. I think a lot of people could see that white line and be like, okay, that's kind of ridiculous. But now we put a number on it, 247, that's very appropriate. That's very appropriate to say, yeah, that's a 247 rating, right? Helps people get a grasp of what it is, and then we can average it and see over a period of, let's say, 10, 20 games, what your time usage is like. Okay, let's get into this game. Black is also, of course, moving a little fast here. Okay, good move. I followed the moves recommended by GM Jesse French Defense opening repertoire. Beautiful. Yeah, I've had this position a bunch as black. It's about equal. You're fine. Good move. Bishop e2. Good move. Good move. And And you got several moves. I think this is okay. And now this has got to be okay. Bishop e2. Good move by opponent, seeing the threat. Now, you're still doing great. I like knight d5 here. Queen e7. It can't be that bad. a3. Good move. I don't know if there was a rush for you to take that thing. But now you go here. Good move. Maybe that was your intention, actually, right? Oh, beautiful. So, actually, we want to commend you here. Your opponent moving way too fast, of course. And I think you're right. And I yelled at you, not appreciating that this was a genius, simple thing that you're doing. Now you have a winning position. Yeah, you can spicy with him. That's good. That can't be it. Now, they moved too fast, and now you're going to win another pawn. I hope you said thank you. I could have also said welcome to the dojo. Good move. Good move. Poor. Thank you. Now you just got to finish him off. And you play rook e5. I don't like this move. You say, I don't like the idea of rook e7 and protecting my pawn horizontally. Rook intends to move my rook to the c5 square. Okay. Okay. You know, you are crushing him so hard here that even this is fine. I like your, actually, I've come around to it. Rook e5 is fine. Good. Rook a4 doesn't do anything. Good move. This guy's terrible. Notice he's not even fixing his king, and now he's immolated. He has immolated his rook. Wow. And he just resigns. Look at that. One thing we'll say is, you know, a lot of times people get depressed, like White got depressed here. Stronger players, I'll tell you. You play some strong player and you get a winning position, they're not going to hand it to you. Not going to hand it to you, buddy. Not going to hand it to you. Okay. So, let's carry on. Here, I'll mark that as reviewed. And next up, we got Nestflüchter. I recently moved back to Australia and can now get a classical over-the-board game each week at my local chess club. I also managed to play my first 2 over-the-board tournaments, which I think helped me improve greatly. Looking forward to tackling the next chess book once I finish Logical Chess. Okay, beautiful. Now, as you can see, Nestflüchter here, he's crushing it. Quad XC says, how can they be 1700 and play this poorly? Remember, it wasn't Dojo 1700. That was like Elite Chess 1700. One of the things I would point to, though, is when people are playing online and they think that they want to play a long game, a lot of times they're not really ready for that long game. It's hard to play online because you're distracted. Okay, Nestflüchter looks like he's crushing it. Look at this rating. Beautiful rating. We've got a FIDE of 1124. Maybe we're going to see an Australian rating someday soon. Nice tactics rating, though I guess it should be higher. He got crushed by it. That's probably just because he's got this low puzzle rush score. It probably was back a while back. Clubs, the Down Under Dojo. See, we got 60 members. Now, that's an example of a club where we'd need a place, you know, like Sydney or something, because that Australia is too big. That's too big. Games, loads of games. Look at this. Proper time control. This is looking great. This is looking great. So, this is Sven Adler, who has flüchtet the nest. This is the Charity Cup. And we got times. Brilliant. Now, one of the cool things about logging the time, if you're a dojo member, is you know I'm going to yell at you if you don't take your time. And Sven did a great job on the clock here, and White did not use their time. So again, it's not like you're going to win the game because you used your clock better, but it's a huge competitive advantage. All right, so here we go. Game review. So he hasn't seen this, and we just want principled moves. Good. Fine. Fine. Okay. A little funky. Fine. Fine. Now, this one is a mistake because of knight e5. But one thing I'll stress is, even though it's a mistake and we probably want to see bishop d6 instead or knight d7, that even when he wins the pawn, you are going to win a couple tempi. So, for example, knight e5, that cost him a tempo. And you should have maybe played queen d7, but this is okay. And now queen b5, in principle, I like, but white should be playing queen e2 to block this diagonal. However, white blows it and plays queen b3, and now you're doing great. Now you're doing great. Now you have full compensation for the pawn. Okay, now he recognizes his mistake. Probably rook b8 now. Simple chess. Now we need a good move because queen e2 is about to show up on the board. Now you play rook b7, you talk about preparing to double, but there's no coconut to be touched on the b file anymore. Now I'll say it's not, okay, I like your position. It's not easy for me to know what to do here either. Rook b7 doesn't look like it though. That's a funny position, honestly. Because this queen e2, we really want to stop it. And it's not easy to stop this thing. Maybe we should consider bishop b1. I don't like it. I really don't like it. I don't like it. But the point would be to follow it up with knight e4. It's a very hot position. I do feel you have compensation. Rook b7 is probably not it, though. Bishop g5. Why is it poor? It's not developing. c5, okay. Knight d2. Knight e4, okay. Snip, snap. f3, f6. Interesting. Interesting move. I think you thought on this move, and I think it's at least posing him some problems, because if fe, he's not going to castle. And that's the most important feature of the position for us. We do not want to let him castle. So he goes back, and now you have bishop d3, my friend. Did you do it? Oh. He still can't castle, so maybe it's not a big deal. Yeah. Rook d8. I like rook c8 better. g4, terrible move. He'd find a better move if he thought about it. e5, good move. Rook g1. I don't know what he's doing. ed, thank you very much. Rook e3. Oh, maybe, buddy. If you had thought about it, this wouldn't be happening to you. King d2. Okay. Now, I think you should strongly consider rook d3 here. You spent 2.5 minutes. Good. Rook d3 is definitely winning. Knight takes, queen takes, king c1, queen here, king e1. Boom. Crispy critters. Still, your move has to be winning as well. Oh, queen a5. Death. Oh, look at that. Ah, you got him. Got him. That's what he deserves for not thinking enough. That's what you get. Lumber asks, short question, is the time evaluation available for non-paying members? I think at the moment it's not. We actually had a little bit of an internal debate as to whether it should be. We give the free tier has access to a lot of things. So maybe someone who's on the free tier could confirm that to me. I think we decided not, but it might still be available because our dev team hasn't changed it yet. All right, here we go. Jacob says nothing. Jacob says nothing. Jacob, tell us something. Just joined. 1454. Clubs. Nothing. Games. Nothing. So Jacob is obviously new to the dojo. Hasn't done much yet. Has graduated, though. Okay. So, Jacob, we want some heat map. We want some games. All right, next up we have DJaves. DJaves, so he's been around since last year, but hasn't logged a bunch of stuff. 1627 is ready to graduate again, maybe, up 200 points. Let's give him a follow. Clubs, nothing. Games, nothing. So we get a lot of dojo members, who part of the program but aren't really logging their business. It's fine, of course. It's kind of like a gym membership you're not using. But, you should use it. Here we go. Next up, we have Tackman Jones. What does Tackman say? Trying to achieve 2,000 ELO. That's a good goal. It's not an easy goal. Let's start with there. And if you're going to do it, Tackman, you need to be logging and doing your games. Your tactics rating looks good, but that comes from just one test. So, clubs, nothing. Games, we got one from Tackman, but it's 10-0 is not it, Tackman. Okay, 10-0 we're not going to do. So, actually, let's go to your training plan for a second. We go Games and Analysis, and we click on this one, and here we can see that when you hit 1600, minimum is 60-30, and when you hit 1200, minimum is 45-30. Okay, one thing I would just want to stress, I think for a lot of players in the internet generation, our site might feel like a bummer. It might be like, oh, I just want to play blitz chess, cry. I want to get good at blitz chess. And it's fine if you just want to get good at blitz chess, but I really want to stress that the occasional game you play, if you want to be a blitz player and play it at a longer time control, it will make you strong. That experience of sitting there and seeing some deep stuff. Once you see some deeper stuff at a longer time control, you can do the same thing quickly in a faster time control. Okay, there's Tackman. Now we got megabytes. Pizza Racer says, I'm new to the dojo. I'm still struggling understanding all the features and how to structure my training. Let's look at Megabytes and try to answer your question with there. Megabytes has been doing some good tactics work. That's pretty on it. May has been a rough month for him. Got up to 1505 though. And let's just check Megabytes out. North Texas. Tell us something, Megabytes. Now we're going to go training plan, for instance. If we look at his weekly training plan, what it's doing is it's telling him pretty exactamundo what he needs to do. And so, Pizza Racer, this is a great way to structure your training. Just use this weekly view and be like, well, this is what I need to do. Now, you could say, I'm not going to do all that in a week. I want to maybe just start with reassess your chess and just do that first. That would be fine. And then when you're done with that, it'll take you away from middle games and strategy and tell you to focus on some other things. Next up, Pizza Racer, I really want to stress, for getting longer games, the best way is let's go round robin. We'll look at this 1500, 1600, just because that's where Megabytes is. And look at this thing. Look at these amazing tournaments that are going on in the 15, 1600 time control. These players are playing great games. A lot of times there's a post-mortem, It's looking beautiful. Okay, so let's go back. Does Megabytes have a game for us? Oh, Megabytes. He's one of these people, maybe got obsessed with the tactics, hasn't got a game for us. Faugra, I'm not hating on you for being late. I was early. We have a huge graduation show today, and I was like, I just need to get on it. I gave Faugra a shout out in our last video. Roy says, hello, Jesse. Graduating again after just a few weeks since my first. Since then, read Simple Chess, beautiful book, and played in another classical tournament. I've annotated a new game, and probably a second by the time you read this, that I've labeled for you to review. Explain a little bit about the enemy at the start as it is relevant to that game, and you can read that if you want, since you asked about it last time. Remember, always destroy the enemy. Okay, let's go look at the enemy. So, Galway, I remember Roy now. Roy is doing some great work, especially the last 3 weeks. This is a new icon we have over here. So it's like you're not done with the week yet, and it's giving you a little time thing. That's new. Dude, our dev team, it's always out there. It's always doing nice little detail work. That's really cool. Okay, so Roy is 1646 FIDE. We're going up the ladder here. Doesn't have a great tactics rating. Maybe that's an interesting thing for Roy to think about. Clubs and Irish. We want a Galway Chess Society club. That's the second time I've asked, Roy. All right, here we go. Games. And then I believe, Jesse, review this. Okay, good. Notice, great time control, 90-30. At this level, he doesn't have to play 90-30. That's a little longer than he has to do, but this is perfectamundo to do it longer. It's just a minimum. Okay, this was the first round of the Ennis Congress. As soon as I saw the draw, I was concerned. By the draw, they mean who you get to play. That's Euro talk. I was up against my friend Ross, who was also the second seed. Don't really like playing friends, but he is the enemy who I must destroy. I even wrote down the enemy on the score sheet. The enemy is a kind of character I created to add a bit of narration to my chess philosophy. Things like always destroy the enemy, and the enemy always wants to kill you. Okay? It's funny, I don't feel that so much for myself, but I do know a lot of GMs who will even get a whole narrative worked up in their head about why they don't like the person and why they want to hurt them and all this stuff. Okay, let's look. Do we add a time graph? We do. That's a pretty good time graph. Holy moly. Now, it looks on this time graph that Roy stopped taking time, maybe around move 30 or something. But you can see both sides are using their time. Good. All right. Good move. D5. Okay. I think it's interesting. So CD5 is going to allow CD5 followed by knight C6. Your opponent plays this, which is then transposed. You like bishop G5. Oh, and I really don't like this bishop F6 thing you do. Check the miserable king. Bishop E7, DC, snip. Now, also, Queen E7 was interesting, but let's just look at this position and see what you write. Comparing this with the other line, the only difference is that I've traded off my bishop on C8, C1, with black's knight on F6. This is very much in my favor because the knight had one tempo invested in it while my bishop was one tempo in debt. Given my material advantage, as long as I can get away from the opening with all my pieces developed, I should be winning. Now, let's stress, you're definitely not winning. You might have an advantage, but you're definitely not winning. Let's play two moves and then ask the tempo question. So, knight C3, castles, and now rook D1. So, it's very nerve-wracking because you have so many moves to make before your king is castled. So I'm not even sure about rook D1. It's scaring me. Queen A5, good. Bishop G2. And now black needs a good move and plays bishop E6, which I'm going to guess he has better than that. So the problem, well, the reason I don't like bishop E6 is that it is getting in the way of the E file. Right? So, now maybe he still has compensation, honestly. But let's get into it. So bishop e6, knight h3. Let's just say knight f3 is a little bit more natural. And now you talk about bishop f6. I do think bishop f6, the guy is got great compensation for his pawn. So he goes here. That looks like an empty threat. Queen c1, and now this move looks like an empty move. Castles. Now notice, notice, your opponent has definitely made some mistakes, but you're still not winning, right? You're talking about being winning. No, you're not winning. You're not winning, buddy. You're definitely better. Good move, knight f4. We'll definitely be doing great too if we can get rid of that bishop. b5, that looks superficial. Good move. Good. Now you might be winning. And now queen b1. Good. Queen b6. He's playing for tricks on e3, and you play queen e4, which I think is fine. I think knight e4 also. Queen e4 is a good move. h6, he doesn't know what to do, and now you go trade the queens. Let me just say, to my mind, it is a little unnatural to trade the queens because your queen is actually better than his queen. Look, it's so centralized, touching all this stuff. A natural move could be rook d7. You're still doing great. Okay. b3. I like b3 a lot. You know, even if the computer doesn't, it's just a nice prophylactic move. Bishop b4. All right. Now it's getting a little hot. Knight e4. He should definitely take. Now the bummer for us is he's... in this position, it's a little... I don't know if we've got enough juice to win this one. Let me put it that way. Right? Because the bishop's of opposite color. That's one of the reasons queen b7 I wasn't too thrilled about. Your opponent does not understand this. Knight f7. Terrible move, losing time. Bishop h3. Okay. a3. I became a bit concerned about the enemy sending down the rook to c2, so I temporarily sack a pawn. I'm not sure I get it. So bishop a3, rook a1. For one thing, he could play b4, right, if he wants to. Knight e5. Finally goes back. b4. Okay, now rook d6. I like that a lot. Okay, so look, we're back here. One thing I would like to stress is a good and simple move here would be f4. And you are dominating the knight so it doesn't come back. Like, knight, buddy, you're not coming back. And of course, on rook c2, we just play the simple rook f2. Pawns on the dark, that's where we want them to work against, build a wall against this guy, and, you know, have the bishop do the light, pawns do the dark. Okay, a3, a little weird. Your opponent really falls for it, though, doesn't he? Knight e5 is a good move now, for example. It's a little weird, of course, because they just moved to knight f7. Good move. Okay, c6. Okay. e5. Now we have ourselves a very interesting endgame, which maybe you're just simply winning. Good move. That's a weakness. He's just giving it to you. Thank you very much. Now we're up 2 pawns. Definitely again f4. Let's trade that thing off. He's helping you. He's like, I want to trade it. Fine. Okay. Okay. Good move. Good. Okay, it makes me a little nervous, but I believe that's going to work. That isn't it, of course. Here we want to say, again, pawns on dark, so e5 first, right? e5 first. Great game. I'm really pumped about Roy here. Roy is doing this Galway Chess Society. He's putting in the work and playing some pretty good chess. Yeah, playing some pretty good chess. Okay, beautiful. Next up, we have Tatami. We're getting up there. What does Tatami say? Well, this is interesting because Tatami has been with us from the very beginning, but maybe just recently got back into it. It says Dojo 1.0. Did some opening work. Maybe he's just like going to recommit to the dojo. If you were here at Dojo 1.0 and you saw what our website looked like, you might be like, that was terrible. I'll join to see what it's like. And then later, years later, you come back and like, oh, this is amazing. It's amazing what you guys have done. All right, he's a part of all kinds of cool groups. Singapore, by the way, thank you. I think Asian dojo is too broad for me. Singapore, that would be like having a European dojo. Come on. Singapore dojo, that's more what I'm talking about. All right, games, nothing. Tatami, buddy, give us some stuff over here, some heat map, and give us some games. RB doesn't have a lot to say here. We're gonna give him a follow. Maybe joined recently. Not a lot, nothing on the heat map. No clubs, no games. So welcome to the dojo. Same thing. We need to see some heat map. We need to see some games. Now we got a famous dojo word. This is Norzius. Norzius says, switched my preferred rating back to ChessCom a couple weeks ago since I've completed the yearly requirement of 40 classical games and 30 annotations. Loving the recent, I don't know why you would do that because of the 40 classical and 30 annotations. Loving the recent changes in the dojo, especially the ability to spar positions against bots. Keep it up, guys. Jesse, if you're interested reviewing one of my games, I prefer the one against Bamba. All right, we'll do it. So, Norzius, dude. Look at Norzius, man. Dude, look at Norzius. This guy's amazing. All right, I think I've asked him for a Kazakhstan club. Let's see. Yeah, buddy. It's right there. There's one member. That's a start, Norzius. That's a start, bud. I am very impressed with Norzius. And, the dojo has many ambitions, but let me just say one of them out loud here. We would love some young players like Norzius to be training like this and really to make it. FM, IM, GM, we want some homegrown talent. It is a big dream of the dojo, and Norzius definitely has the potential of doing that. Recently, we had Luke from Holland, and he is now one of the coaches. So I think Norzius could tell himself, hey, maybe if I get up to 2,000 or something, then I could start, somebody could pay me a little bit of money to be a coach. And we would support Norzius in that quest. Right. Okay, so let's take a look here. We got games, loads of games. Actually, just look at this dude, man. He's doing it. Let's look at quickly activity. Very good macro distribution. Yeah, looking great. Look at this. Boom. Let's look at how he did it actually. So 16, 17, this is the work he did. 194 points. That was a lot of work. Tactics. Dude was really crushing it. Huge crushing it over here. Yeah. Great games. Now, I'm already forgetting it, but Bamba. There it is, Bamba. Somewhere in here we got Bamba. Here's Bamba, 60-30. right, do we got a time graph? We do. Look at this. Bang. So, Norzius has a pretty good time usage. You can see, now let's just say the obvious. As we go up the ladder, we're going to start to see players like Norzius use a little bit too much time, right? And they're both going to get into some severe trouble. Black, moving a little too fast. Okay. But still, in general, pretty good time usage from Norzius. It's just that he's going to be living off the increment at the end. And you can see over here that he starts, maybe he's got a winning position, he's just living off the increment, he starts gaining some time. Okay, so let's go back. Boom, game review. Good. Fine. 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 Fine, fine. And now, I don't know. I don't know. My Russian, I got a little bit of Cyrillic alphabet in me, but not too much. Okay. So, F5, and now the famous knight D6. The line with EF is more intuitive to me. But let's look. Knight D6. Interesting move. Snip, snop. And you say white's better. The pieshka on D6. The pawn on D6. And the knight on D5. The knight on D5 is going to get whacked with C4. See, I got a little bit of Russian in me. I got a little bit. Good. Good. I don't know about E5. And that one, I don't know. I can't translate that one. By the way, it's totally fine to write in Russian or any language. My intuition here for black would definitely be, can I get away with C5 and bishop B7? I'm not sure I like E5. E5 is not solving the problem of the bishop on C8. C5, finally. Okay. Now, it's a little... We still don't know why E5 was played, but okay. Now bishop G5. What I don't know about this is later I'm going to get whacked with H6 after bishop B7, and then do I really got an idea? Well, let's look at what Norzius wants. He wants F4. Now, one thing is he kind of said that white was better out of the opening here. I agreed with that. Well, I can imagine him being better anyway. And I definitely thought he was better after E5. But we haven't yet found a path for white to be better themselves, right? So, for example, how should we interpret, or however you want to call it, this position? Because I think this is our critical moment. One move that I am attracted to is B4, CB, bishop B2, and what is our feeling here? We got to get the initiative on the dark squares because this is our unopposed bishop here. I definitely don't want to lose that bishop over here with bishop G5. Bishop B7, F4, interesting. And now I don't see a reason why black couldn't play H6. They play this one. And Norzius plays queen B6. So what's the reason I'd rather not play E4 if I'm black is you just blocked this guy, right? You just blocked it. So anyways, I would be interested in the analysis of this move here to keep him open. Okay, so E4, queen b3. Okay, let me just stress again, in this position, we want to open it. And so I know it might look weird, but we should at least consider g4. Is it spicy? Oh, that's very spicy. By the way, yeah, we should be considering a move like that. I don't know how I feel about it, honestly. But okay, queen b3. And now you do this. Interesting. He plays g6. I think also from black's perspective, it would be simplest to play queen b6 and just be like, I'm fine. I'm doing fine. Amy asks, whose king is safer after g4? I don't know. I don't know. Sorry I didn't read your comments earlier. And then also talking about b4, cb, and maybe c5. True, but I was just going to play bishop b2 first. Very interesting position. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you that I think it's an achievement for you to get black to play g6, because now the dark squares are truly kind of funky, right? So in that, if this was forced, then queen h3 was a good thing, and probably queen b6 was better. Queen c3, and you write about queen h4. I'm liking your position now. At some point, black really needs to consider e3. Let's see how they play here. King g7. Doesn't look right. It doesn't look right. And now you go back to h3. I don't know. You don't need to, right? That doesn't look right. Queen h3. So, queen h3, and the dude plays h5. Looks weird. Why not like rook f7 or something? And you go back. This feels a little planless. Why don't we put a rook on b1 or a1 or d1? You know, get us doing something. Rook f d1. Rook b e8. Now we need a plan. You play rook a b1, and you don't like it. By the way, not an easy position to know what to do. Black has really killed himself, though, on these dark squares. So you don't like this rook b1 because you don't like the prospects of this rook e6 happening. By the way, the fact you're going to lose the pawn is not surprising given that you spent 1,000 tempi going back and forth with the queen. I kind of like, well, maybe I don't like it. All right, let's say the obvious. The bummer about b4 is that it comes with this discovered check. So it is the right plan, but what should we do if we can't do that? I guess it is rook d2, yeah. Good. Okay, good analysis. So the right idea with rook a b1, but because b4 is so fraught and you have to spend another tempo, it's not looking great. And he's, I don't really want to lose that pawn. Boom. And now cb4, good analysis. Snip, snark. Oh, and now we're threatening rook d7. I have a feeling that's what he missed. Good analysis. d5. CD. CB, what a mess. We got to believe in your position, though. Queen e5, absolutely. Queen d8. He would love, if I was black, I would love to have a better move than that. Because after d6 or what you did, you're going to be fine. d6 looks more natural, but your rook c1, unless he's got something here, which I don't think he does, this is looking pretty painful. Good move. Bishop f6 does not look right. And you talk about rook c7, absolutely. Yep. So, rook f6. And now queen e7. Rook c7 looks better, you say. Yeah, rook c7. I mean, actually, I criticize bishop f6, but if it's winning, it's winning. There's not much to say about it if it's winning, right? Queen d7, snip, snop, bishop d7, and now it's not easy, huh? Boom, boom, boom. Oh my gosh. So, bishop b5 doesn't look correct because unless we're going to draw this thing, maybe we should draw it. And you say bishop e8, king e8, rook a7. And that this is a draw. Now, maybe it's a draw, but this one makes me real nervous. So, as an example, e3, threatening rook d1. So, king f1 looks forced. Rook d2. This looks scary. This looks very scary, right? We can analyze this. So, by the way, my just general intuitive sense back here is that you have a complicated but interesting game after rook a7 that I don't think you should be losing. I don't think you should be worse. Now, I'm guessing it was hard to transition psychologically from being winning to this. And actually, let's go back to the main point. How did this happen to you? It happened because you were too slow, right? That's how you got here. It was a very difficult position, but you had these things happen after move 30 where you didn't have any time to do it. You know, you are not alone in this. Gukesh has his own problems here too. Right? Okay. Now, it's a 1 hour game too, so this is going to happen in a 1 hour game. All right, so this all went down. And now rook d6 was a clever move because now he gets you to do that, and now all of a sudden it's not so easy. All right, rook d7, boom. Okay, and we're saying if, yeah, it's rough now. Now you say this is clearly better for black. All right, let's talk about it. If we have chances of holding this, it's because the pawn on g6 is on a light square. All right, so here we go. King e3. And he does the most ambitious move, bishop e6. Now, if you don't like bishop e6, if there's a problem with that, we should look at other moves, like really go deep in analyzing. So, for example, king f6, I don't know. I'm assuming you play h4. And the problem I'm seeing for white is how are we going to, for black, excuse me, is how is black going to now progress after that move? So if bishop e6 doesn't work, my intuition would be h4. It's going to be rough. Your king is coming up to c5. Oh, man. Here? Let me just bear with me a second. I still think you should play g3. You're not going to lose this. You're not going to lose this. So is it actually equal? Is he better? If he had two tempi, if he could do this and then get to c5, then he's going to be better or winning. But I think you might be, if bishop e6 doesn't work, and this is great here, bang, in time pressure, bang, h4, c4, e3, King c4, king d2. It still looks scary. King d4. And now h3 is played by black. Wow, what a game. What a game. I would want to analyze king e4. For example, king e4. Now there's g3, but maybe that's the first thing to check. And now h3. Bang! Gh, king e3. This might transpose, actually, to the game. It does transpose to the game. Wow. So we're going to see this in the game. h3. Might make a difference which square we're on. Wow. Queen b1. King c5. All right. He's got nothing. What a great game. Also a really nice pawn endgame that you recognized as equal. We're going to guess he thought it was just winning. But the bummer for black too is I don't know quite how he's supposed to do it. Let me go back for this guy actually a second. So king f6, rook a7, and the pawn on e7 is a goner anyway. Okay, so maybe the el correctamundo here would be to consider e3, king f1, rook d2, bishop e2. It's hot. Okay, yeah, this would be a position to consider. Maybe rook c2 is annoying, for example. I'm threatening rook c1. It's not so easy. So I think this, both sides are in time pressure. Great endgame. Norzius, I really encourage you to go deeper on the endgame. This will teach you about the endgame. And by the way, you don't need much teaching because you found this amazing move here. Bishop takes king d4. Yeah, okay. Let me try one more thing for black. h4, king c4. Is g5 ridiculous? All right, so the first claim we're going to make is that this is losing for white. Okay, king b4, h3, and we're gone. Okay, then we need to look at this one. And then, no, here's going to be losing because you got to play like king c3, and then I play king d5, and it's losing. Okay, so now, could white play g3? Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. All right, we'll state the obvious. The bummer here for us is that it's not so easy for black to get at the pawns over there. But let's Let's just see. Something like that, right? This one scares me. This one scares me, yeah. This looks terrible. Okay, so my friends, that's the kind. I do not pretend that is an exhaustive analysis. I just did a little bit of that for Norzius to see what I want from him in the endgame analysis. All right? That is how you get good at the endgame. All right, beautiful. Norzius, you're doing great, bud. So let's close this out. We're going to go. We got a couple more left here. We got Puzzling World. Let's see what's going on with Puzzling World. Joined last year, but only recently has done some stuff. Got a picture of Fallujah. And 1829 looks good. Clubs, nothing. Games, we got a game. Is on a cliff. 10-0 games, though. So Puzzling World, maybe you haven't played a long game. Maybe you're part of this generation that hasn't done a long game yet. I encourage you to have the growth mindset to try it out. Okay. Next up, we have Kapowie Man. Kapowie Man. So let's look at Kapowie Man. USCF 1902. We're going to give him a follow. Joined way back, but hasn't posted much. I find it's more common for higher rated players to just kind of tentatively be involved in the dojo. You know, like Kapowie Man here. Kapowie Man, buddy, log your stuff and give us some games. All right. Now we got Adriano. For those who don't know me, I've been on a wild ride. My first FIDE rating was 1965 classical, but then I fell hard to 1806 despite my online ratings being considerably higher than that. I thought I would be quitting the game forever, but I was able to put myself back together and gain rating left to right. I'm so lazy that I never added here what I've studied. Not only I crossed 2000 FIDE classical, beautiful, I also skyrocketed to 21-22 FIDE Blitz, being able to verify my NM title on both Lichess and Chess.com. Beautiful. FIDE finally awarded me the Candidate Master title as a result. It was pending for my performance at the FIDE Zonal 2.4. Oh, did I tell that I was able to beat Nihal Sarin on my debut at the Lichess titled arena? Amazing. I'm currently wrapping up my 4th guest blog post for Chessable, where I tell this fine comeback story. I'd like to personally say thanks to IAM's Prus, Cry, and especially Kavutsky for the opportunity they gave me here at the dojo, even if I wasn't able to make it for it entirely. By the way, I'd be happy to joining the stream. I think this post is too short to describe the journey. Kind regards, Adriano. Beautiful. Okay. That is a nice story. That's a great story. So let's go give Adriano a click. He's busy doing all kinds of things, so that's why he's not logging his business. So from Brazil, let's see if he's got the Brazil club. No, Adriano, join the Brazil club, bud. Or if you're, whatever city you're in over there, tell us you could get that club too. Do we got games? Nothing. Adriano, buddy, let's get it going, man. Let's get it going. All right, my friends, that was an epic stream today, 2.5 hours long. I'm going to call it. Congratulations to all the people in the dojo. Couple things in closing. We've got, Norzius is in the chat. Nice. Well, where is he in the chat, though? Oh, Norzius up here. Sorry I didn't see it. Just tuned in. I'm sorry I didn't make a translation for this annotation. Thought you were going to review it tomorrow. No problem. Actually, you're right. Normally I do it on Thursday. I got some words, though, Norzius, right? I got a couple. I got a couple words. But Norzius, really great that you're crushing it here. Want to say in closing, we are doing a lot of stuff at the dojo. And a thing we have going so people can come check out some of the new features at the dojo is we're giving 40% off until June 15th. And all you got to do is go to the site and use code DOJO. And then you can get that discount. just a way for people to check it out. Now we're going to rate a friend of the dojo. This is GM Benjamin Bach. We've known this guy forever. And say hi to him. And I'll be around. We got videos coming out all the time. Go check out our vids. We got shorts. We got vids. We've been working hard on it. We're very close, actually, to 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. We've been working at this for years. So if you can go to YouTube and give us a sub, if you haven't done it, that would be nice too. All right, bye, everybody.